We've already covered making several other products using AI, and since you guys are loving those videos, I figured I'd make a special video dedicated to one of the best-selling products of them all, t-shirts. One good t-shirt design could make you over $50,000, just like this one has. The problem is that up until now, making great designs has required a lot of technical skill and artistic ability. Some recent changes in the AI space have made it easier than ever to generate great t-shirt designs. Today, we're going over the whole process from generating a brand new design to a finished product that's ready to sell. And the whole process is really easy. We'll start by using Midjourney AI to create a great t-shirt design. Then we'll use a different free AI to upscale the image and remove the background if we need to. This way we'll be able to print the design on a shirt. Since there are a lot of different types of t-shirt designs that we could generate, we'll go over a few different styles of designs, as well as how to prepare them so that they're ready to be printed on a shirt. Once we have the images and graphics ready, we could use them as individual parts of designs, or we could just use them as whole designs on their own. To access Midjourney AI and generate images, you'll need a free account to a program called Discord. And on top of being able to join Midjourney, we've also started to build a new Discord server for all of us to be able to join and chat, talk about business and ideas. So check it out if you're making an account anyways. I'll leave a link in the description below. It's not perfect yet, but hopefully we can grow it into a good community of like-minded people where we can chat and talk about business. But to access the Midjourney server, you'll want to head over to their website and click on Join the Beta. This will connect you to the Discord server that Midjourney runs out of. Now, if you're like me and you want to stay a little bit more organized, then a simple hack is to come over on the left side and just click this plus button that says Add a Server. Then we can just type in a name, something like Midjourney Images, and then I'll just hit create. Now back in the main Midjourney server, I just have to find this Midjourney bot, and if I click on it and click add to server, then I can just add it to that server that I just created. Now this way, when I choose the server that I just created, I'll be able to use the Midjourney bot without seeing everybody else's images. Now you probably already know this, but t-shirts with graphics on them sell pretty well. And the best way to come up with a new idea is just to look at what's already working. You're probably familiar with this first style of graphic, which is just these watercolor designs. They're all over Etsy, and shops sell different kinds of watercolor graphics, but they're mostly for things like plants and flowers. Now this example shirt, it's just a bunch of little watercolor plants or roots, I guess, on it, and it sells like crazy. Now, Allura estimates that this listing alone makes about $2,400 a month and has brought in a total of about $29,000. Here's another example of just a simple watercolor flower, just a super basic design, and Allura estimates that this one is at about $1,600 a month with a total sales of around $52,000. Now, those listings are more successful than a lot of the other listings. But for just a little bit of perspective, if you wanted to hit $12,000 per month, you would only need 25 designs that sold 25 times each. So even if you have a less successful listing like this one with only 100 reviews, or this one with 18 reviews, or even this almost exact same design with 27 reviews, they all add up and contribute to a lot more money collectively. This Sasquatch-inspired design brings in around $673 a month. And again, you don't have to have the most successful best-selling shirt. For example, if you came up with a different variation like this one, it's still bringing in several $100s a month. So even with those few ideas, I think we can now start making some of our own designs for plant, flower, or Bigfoot-inspired shirts. Now in Midjourney, there's a few settings that I like changing first. So I'll type out /settings and hit enter, and I'm just making sure that Midjourney version 5 is selected. Now, I would recommend using this high quality setting when you're ready to start making actual designs, but for while you're just playing around and getting used to Midjourney, then you can leave it at the base quality. And honestly, the same thing with the stylization. The higher the stylization, the more flair and chaos that the AI is going to add to the image on its own. I'm just going to leave the stylization on medium for now, but you can play around with different styles as you want. I'll put some examples on screen just so you can see a rough idea of what each stylization does with the same exact prompt. Now to get something really similar to what we saw on that first shirt, I'll just type in /imagine and then hit enter until this prompt pops up. And then I'll just type in simple carrot in the style of watercolor. And then I can just hit enter to generate it. Now, when I generate these kind of images, I've found that saying in the style of watercolor, for example, after the prompt is a lot more effective. Now, I just went ahead and generated a ton of different plant-based images using basically the same exact prompt for them all, just switching out a few of the first words. Usually does a really good job of giving you exactly what you're looking for, but sometimes you'll have to tell it things like on a white background so that you're able to remove it from the background later. And the last change that really helps on these watercolor images is if you're doing something tall like a carrot, you can type 2 dashes and AR for aspect ratio and type 9:16 to change the aspect ratio and make it vertical when it prints. And there's really infinite styles that we could make, not just watercolor. So at the end of the prompt, I just write in the style of a single line drawing. This gave me a super simplistic, minimalistic kind of line drawing, which is super popular right now. And since I really like this style, I can use this reroll button feature to re-roll it a few times and get even more images in the same style. If we wanted to make a design with a bunch of similar flowers, this would be a great way to do that. Once you get one that you like, just keep re-rolling and create a bunch of variations of it. Now, besides generating images like we always have by just giving Midjourney a prompt, there's a new way to generate images that I wanted to test out. I think this is where making great t-shirt designs is going to get even easier. It's a new feature called Describe, and the way that it works is you type /describe and it'll bring up this box where you can upload an image. And the Midjourney bot will reverse engineer that image into a prompt that you can use to generate more images. Now, since I already pay for a FreePic subscription, I'm going to use this Sasquatch image off of FreePic to avoid any copyright issues. But all I have to do is just type out /describe and then take a screenshot of that Sasquatch image and upload it directly into the chat. It spits out 4 different prompts that I can use, and then I just have to choose which one I want to generate. Now, this feature does not work perfectly, and I had to try a few different times, but after several attempts of clicking re-roll, I was finally able to generate some Sasquatch images that I liked. Some were definitely better than others, but just for uploading a screenshot of inspiration and then hitting generate a few times, this is a pretty impressive result. Now, a lot of these didn't come out good, but just keep in mind that with just a few minutes of work, after just deleting the ones I didn't like and re-rolling the ones that I did, I was able to get some pretty impressive results. But even with all of the great images that we've just made, a lot of them aren't even usable yet. If I just uploaded them to Printify as is, they'd look terrible and they would never sell. So let's take those images that we just made, upscale them so that they're high quality for printing and so that we can remove the backgrounds if we need to. This is the best upscaling website that I found. It's completely free to use to upscale your images to 4 times their original size, which is plenty if you're using Midjourney. And it only takes a couple of minutes. So I literally just drag the image in. I'll make sure to set it to 4x upscaled, and then I'll just wait a minute for it to finish. But now that the images are upscaled, we'll have to prepare them by removing the backgrounds. And this is super easy to do. There's a lot of free websites that you could use to do this, but this one is one of my favorites. Most of these websites will require you to pay after a certain amount of usage, but there are still free options like Adobe Express. Just sometimes it won't work quite as well. You can see that at least on this example, the background is almost perfectly removed, and the carrot is cut out almost exactly how we would want to print it. Now, this method of using AI to remove the background is perfect for any kind of watercolor graphics or designs that are clearly separatable from the background. But what about designs and images like these? The lines on this flower are too thin, and the colors on the Sasquatch here all blend together. So we need to use a different method to extract the design. Now, my favorite way to do this is to use an image to vector converter. I'm going to be using Adobe Illustrator because it's what I know how to use, but there are free alternatives out there like Inkscape. You would just have to go to YouTube and search for a different tutorial on how to do it. But to do it in Illustrator, it's super easy. I just have to drag in my image of the flower, and then I can use the image trace function and set it to a sketched art preset, and it'll make a nearly perfect cutout of the flower. Now, if I drag in the Sasquatch and I try the exact same thing, I'll just have to change the setting from sketched art to 16 colors. And then it'll transform the image into a vector file. And just like that, at this stage, we're pretty much ready to assemble the shirt. This is where it all starts to come together. I just have a bunch of files that are all of my designs ready to be used. I could just start uploading them directly to Printify and start building out some shirts like this. Or I could get a little bit fancier and bring those same graphics into a free program like Figma. I could do things like add some text near the design. I could use my Sasquatch design that I just made and remove some of the darker colors And now I know it looks terrible at the moment in this white background, but as soon as I put it on a mockup, you can see how it really comes to life. Now from here, all we'd really need to do is take the designs that we've already assembled, put them on a mockup and upload them to Printify, and list it for sale on Etsy with some good SEO. And at that point, we'd just let the Etsy algorithm take over and wait until we start getting some sales. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it only takes about 25 designs to sell 25 times each month to make you around $12,000 a month. But getting those 25 designs can be really difficult, so it might take you a lot of attempts and a lot of designs to find those 25. But with enough persistence, you can absolutely get there. I'm going to be adding similar AI graphics to my own challenge series and upload them to my own store that I'm growing right here on YouTube. So if you're interested in seeing the long-term results of that, be sure to hit subscribe.